guys, and welcome to this new video. First of all, thank you so much for the 2000 subscribers. Not long ago I posted a poll on my channel so that you guys could choose the subject of this new tutorial, and you guys choose motion graphics. Well, let me say you that I'm not really a motion graphic guy, so what I did is actually take inspiration from a After Effects tutorial that I'm going to link in the description. So let me show you what we are going to create here. So despite common belief, Fusion is actually pretty capable in terms of motion graphics. Okay, let's get started with this. Let's create a new composition. So I want to move to my favorite mid-flow layout, and I'm going to start with a text plus node. Okay, let's write down my text. I want to change my font to Avenir Next and the line spacing to 0.65, and I want to H anchor to be set on left. I'm moving to the shader tab, and in the offset position I'm going to move the value so that I can center my text. What can be done also is pressing Command G with the viewer selected to activate the guides. What we want to do now is to right click in our text box and add a follower. And the first thing that we want to do in the transform tab is to move the transform here from characters to words, and moving into the modifier tab, let's just do the same here. Okay, so what we want to do is to select the size and maybe move to frame 1 here and add a keyframe set to 0. And then we want to move 1 frame ahead and go back to 1. So if I'm going to play back this is what we have. But if I move again in my modifier tab and in the timing tab and set the delay value to 1, this is what happens. Okay, this is perfect, and this is exactly what I want. And now maybe here at frame 20 I can go into my tool tab again. In the layout I can add a keyframe here in the size and one here in the Z rotation. Okay, so I can move over like 5 frames and type here -90 and decrease the size to I don't know, maybe 0.75 or even less. Let's go 0.7, and let's open up the spline editor and click here on these 3 dots and select show only selected tools. Now we have only 1 node in the flow, so it won't be any difference, but this will prevent some confusion later on. So let's go here and select our keyframes, and with Shift S I'm going to smooth the animation. Yeah, perfect. Something we may want to do also is to go into the Common tab and activate the motion blur. I'm leaving the quality down to 2 now, but before rendering we can increase this up to 4 or maybe 6, something like that. Okay, I think it's good enough. I think we can tweak this a little bit. With Command T I can recall the easing controls and maybe make the animation just a touch more snappy. Yeah, something like that. And something else that I want to do is to change the color right at these same keyframes. So I'm going to move to the shading tab again and add a keyframe here and move over to the next keyframe and choose this kind of red or something like that. Okay, let's move over to the next step and add another text node. and we want to type our text in, and we want again our veneer next 0.65 and the H anchor to the left. I wasn't even watching, but yeah, and bold for sure. So we want to move our text a little bit to the right here and change the size so that we have this text to be aligned to our previous text. As you can see, this is not perfectly aligned, so I can move to my previous text and move that offset X that I was playing with earlier. And yeah, I think that it's okay, and I think I'm done here with that. So let's see the timing for a second, and I think I can start animating right here. I want to add another follower here on my text too, and in the modifier tab I can move here into my shading and again add a frame here in the offset, maybe add 5. As you can see, some of the letters are missing here, and so what I can do, I can move back into my follower timing tab, and instead of all characters I can choose character range, and I can precisely tell Fusion how many characters I want to affect in my animation. In this case it's 18. Let's go back to my shading tab, and I want to move over like 10 frames and go back to 0 in my offset here. And now, if I go back into my modifier tab here, I can add some delay. And I think 0.9 should be a good value. Yeah, it works for me. Let's see. Yeah. And now what I can do is add a transform node. And I want to add keyframe here for the size, the center, and the angle. And I want to move like 5 frames ahead, and I want to change the angle to 90 degrees and move this over, scale this down a little bit, and again try to center it by eye, which is something that we are going to be tweaking later on anyway. So again, select all the keyframes, Shift S to ease in and out our animation of the transform. Yeah, perfect. Again, I want to go in my common tab and activate the motion blur for my transform 1. So I want this to be red at the beginning, and I want it to be white at the end. Sorry for the confusion. Yeah, something like that. And then I want, again on my text 2, as the animation of my transform happen. So right here I want to animate the text color again. So here I want to be white, and move over the number of frames as the other animation, and let's change this to be red. And again I want to smooth everything out just like that. Great. Let's move to the next step, which will be again a text plus node, and I want to merge this one over as well, and let's type our text. And I want to change the size. So again, I can align everything up, and I think I did a good job here. Yeah, I like this. And what I want to do next is move here into the Transform tab and choose Words. Okay, let's move into the Text tab here and add a follower. And move again into the Transform tab, set it to Words, select Words, and in the rotation I want to add a keyframe here, -90, move like 5 frames over and set back to 0. Let's see the result. Yeah, something like that. This could happen a little bit sooner. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I want to move back to my Tool tab in the Transform, and I want to change my pivot here and set it to 0.5. And here is the result. What I want to do now is to add a different color for each different word, and what I would do normally is to go to my text here, and I would right click and choose my character level styling, but as you can see in my Tool tab, the character level styling is grayed out. So in Fusion what you can do is stack modifiers. So if you move into the follower and select the text here, you can right click here, and here you can add a character level styling. So now what I can do is select my text and change the color for each word. Yeah. Now what I want to do is to add a small animation of this color running through these words, and I could actually do that using my character level styling here, but let's do it the lazy way. Let's add a background, and I want to use this same red here, and if I connect my text as a mask for the background, now I can add a rectangle mask on my merge, and I can use the mask to restrict my color here, and I'm gonna use the longer word as a reference and a starting point. As soon as the graphics word is in place, I want to animate this rectangle here. So if I move 1 frame back, I can move the rectangle away. What I want to do after that is move 5 frames ahead, and then move my rectangle to the next word. Again, 5 frames. 5 frames more. And another 5 frames. I now select all the keyframes and press the I key on my keyboard for a step in interpolation. And this is the result. I think this could happen a little bit later. So let's shift this of like 2 frames. Yeah. And as soon as 1 frame before the red disappears, I want to add a transform node and add a size keyframe here, add 5 frame over and scale it down like 2.75, and again Shift S to smooth the animation. Yeah, I want to enable the motion blur here again. Okay, now all we have to do is to reverse the animation actually. And the first thing that we have to do is move into the follower and add a keyframe here in the order, and moving a frame ahead I want to change the order to right to left. And now in the follower I can go into the transform tab and do my animation, and as you can see now things move the other way. As you can see now, since we transformed our text, so now I have to add another keyframe here, and this happens in the tool tab back into the transform, and I'm going to add a keyframe right around here and move a frame over and set the pivot to 1. So now if I could be a little bit less than 1 actually. So let's go 0.8. Yeah, 0.8 does just fine. Yep. And we have to move backward, as I said, again here in the follower tab. Again, I can change the order, 1 frame right to left, and then in the shading tab, same. And I think 8 should be enough. I don't know. Yeah, this seems enough. Maybe even too much. Let's see what happens with 7. Yeah, perfect. And just proceed with the last text animation. Just do the same. Go into the follower, order, add a keyframe, move one frame ahead, right to left, and go to the animated, and set this to 0, and we should be ready to go. Yeah, I think we are almost done. So now what we have to do is to just add a background node and merge our text on top, and maybe we can add a brightness contrast with an ellipse as a mask, and we may want to do something like that. We can soften the edge a little bit, and yeah, something like so. And maybe we can add a shadow node on our text, and maybe move the source light up here, and then we can go back into the shadow node and tweak the distance. So as you can see, the shadow node is very much like a drop shadow. You can do more than that, but I think it's the subject for another tutorial. So yeah, I think something like that. It's just fine, just okay. Just a touch of shadow like this. Yeah. Now I can add a touch of chromatic aberration, and I mean just a touch like so. and maybe I can add some fast expo glow, and maybe just add some roll off here and just a touch less gain. Oh yeah, I think this works. And just add a film grain. I want to pipe my image also in the mask input of my film grain, and if I move to the common tab, I can use the luminance as a channel for a mask, and what happens is the noise is applying only, sorry, I just need to invert the mask, so the darker part of the image gets more noise than the brightest part of the image. So I'm going to change the noise to RGB and maybe decrease the size and increase a little bit of strength. And I think we can run a preview here and see our result. So as you can see, our result is pretty nice. Guys, I think this is a wrap for me, and I hope you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section down below. And thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.